Ladies and gentlemen, we've just come out of a very highly charged, emotionally charged period, and it's reflecting in society. And as a society, we have already separated from this separation consciousness. Sometimes I call it the fragmentation of human consciousness. And this divide within the country, this obsession over politics, is destroying friendships, and it's leading some people astray on both sides, because we really should be focused on what we are going to do, what exactly we're going to do to help make the world a better place. And it's absolutely possible. And we should hold that torch in our mind's eye. It's difficult during these dark days, but when I look at the news wire and I see the conversations that are being dominated on both sides, it's so centered on this election and post-election that it's taking us away from everything else that's going on. It's the ultimate distraction. It's the ultimate illusion. And some people have the false notion that the system is working. Other people have the false notion that the end is near, and it's time to freak the fuck out. And I advocate quite a bit of calm. I also am telling people that in Portland, Oregon, it's normal when Republicans are elected in that city for aspects of that town to take over the freeways. I'm not endorsing that. I'm saying that this is a historical pattern. The reason I'm letting you know that this is cyclical and this happens a lot, and I saw it in 2003 myself when protesters shut down the Burnside Bridge. That was done out of this massive, okay, this is how we do this. And of course it went nowhere. But just because people engage in that emotional, reactive behavior, it doesn't mean that they're all being paid and funded by George Soros. And this is what I'm getting at with this whole-scale demonization of those that dissent against the Trump, also known as the radical left. At the same time, I saw a very passionate speech from someone else that in no way appreciates the alt-right label. And I can understand that. And I think that it's dangerous. I think that it was done on purpose when Hillary Clinton brought that out. And this is where I disagree with others, and others disagree with me. That was millions of dollars worth of free advertising for Alex Jones. And because Alex Jones has been behaving in the manner that he has been behaving, as I've already detailed, and some of you already know, and we see the rhetoric coming from Alex Jones. And I've talked about how he's gone in these rants where he's demonizing Middle Eastern people as rapists, and this is not good. And I already saw him as being someone that was drifting towards the dark side for many, many years. It wasn't until his recent actions and the calls for racial profiling from Donald Trump and banning Muslims, but also the World War III rhetoric that I believe that I've noticed from Donald Trump. Maybe we should shoot down those Russian jets. Maybe we should renegotiate with China. Now China's warning of retaliation. It seems that not only am I correct about Donald Trump being the elite selection, but him being placed in power to actually take our national debt, which is now at 20 trillion, doubled since Obama came in office, to somewhere else that is going to be devastating. It all is seemingly on the up and up to a lot of people. If only we can come together and see through this corruption. This left-right divide and this fighting over the president, we've seen this before. And we see people that should be working together turning against each other based on their political beliefs. It's true that I don't want to be associated with anyone that's endorsing the current foreign policy in the Middle East. That's a far cry from rioting in the streets. You know, I think that some of the people that are rioting the streets feel like there's no other way to get their voice out. I see people that are demonized because they didn't vote. Why choose between the masters? What's wrong with not voting? Again, people are using this as evidence that Soros paid them. And there may have been some people that have been trucked in. They all weren't trucked in. Portland protests get that large. But the reason I'm glad I'm not in Portland, and I'm not exactly defending the actions of the Splinter Group, not at all. I think that's ridiculous. And it made me the enemy in the eyes of a lot of Portlanders when I called out their action in 2010. Alex Jones actually allowed that on his website for a period of time, or at least one of his webmasters. And I was calling out the Black Bloc in Portland for their calls for violence. And I was very suspicious that there were groups there that were actually agent provocateurs. And I was going off with a megaphone towards a group that had turned over a dumpster and were about to start a fire. And this was like the latest string of events in a number of protests that also followed solar flares in Portland, by the way, to where, that city and other places, there's more unrest because people are definitely energized. And that is something that I see as well as a contributing pattern. So I remember what it was like going down there, and also the feel of the air, the energy in Portland that night, and just hundreds to thousands of young people just running crazy, and the cops are just like filming, going, what the hell? Like a real freak out reaction to another shooting of another unarmed person. And so the tactics of some of these protesters, it's the same over the years. And it's at least important to understand that, even if we disagree with it. But we can see how there's a sediment there that's rising that I think the establishment that supersedes Hillary and Trump. Think larger now. Think intelligence community. Think manufactured civil unrest on a higher level. They're trying to provoke the people. Doesn't mean that the way that people are responding is okay by responding to the way that they're being provoked. But in my opinion, some people are being provoked. And then you have propaganda that's very sophisticated on the left and right, unless you're tapped into one or the other. And sometimes you're only tapped into one or the other, not both. You don't see what the other side is being told. Like the other side being told the elections were rigged, Donald Trump really didn't win, wait until the Electoral College in December. And so, yes, there's all this angst being, but we'll keep fighting. They put out the message, keep fighting. Who does that? Hillary Clinton, though, not much of a concession speech, speculation that she was drunk and falling down and whatnot. She played quite a role. And she also played a role when she threw it in the direction of Barack Obama in 2008. Okay, and back then, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama had a private meeting outside the Bilderberg Group in Chantilly, Virginia. And so the conspiracy theorists and InfoWars were all up in arms about them ditching the press. But when Trump does it, Trump can do no wrong. Screw the press. Screw the media. Let's sue the media. Yeah, let's cheer this on. Yeah, let's destroy the free press. This is getting into some really weird territories, some cold waters. Is it possible that some of us that are independent thinkers that have been marginalized conspiracy theorists by the left, is it possible for us to work with other people? Not if those people are disrespectful. And so I think that we need to go on a case-by-case basis. And I can definitely say, even though I've spoken out against Trump, I can also say that I have had people close to me, friends and or associates, that are supporting Donald Trump. And so, it's a strange feeling, but it is true. There are some good people out there that support Donald Trump. We happen to disagree on the role that Trump is playing. We happen to disagree on a number of things. And I think that there should be a tape made, just for the record, of the actual things that Donald Trump has said out of his mouth. So there's not any, well, he said this and he said that, or that's taken out of context. No, here it is. Here's the tape. And I think in the next year, the next few months, we're going to see more of that. But it's important as I close here that members of the left understand the corruption in the Democratic Party. Because if you're only focused on Trump and you're not focused on the corruption of the Democratic Party and Joe Biden and Barack Obama and the $20 trillion in debt that we've been left, then you're not seeing the whole picture. This should be a time of healing. At the very least, the election is over. There's no more anxiety about the election itself. A lot of people said they were going to go and leave the country while other people cheer in some sadistic way and say, yeah, get the hell out of here. We hate you. We hate you because you don't like our leader now. Get out. Get the fuck out. You see this rhetoric? There's something going on that's above all this, what people are seeing. This divide and conquer energy frequency. And I think people need to see it. And you can have your political beliefs. You can be adamantly for someone or against someone, and you can also be friends with someone else that has a different view than you. It's very difficult right now in some circumstances to do that. If some of the followers of these candidates, these selections, are going on this, it's more than I want to get into now, because so many of my podcasts have already addressed it. But this psychosis that the system is working and not addressing the real foreign policy issues that are going on, the people that are getting killed. And the very fact that, okay, if you want to say that the government set up ISIS and aspects of that is true, why then have a pact with Russia? We're talking about Trump to eradicate ISIS. It's almost as if you're just arming people randomly and then you're taking turns and working together to slaughter them. And it seems like this is some sort of a sadistic hot war on the ground, Cold War on a larger level between U.S. and Russia, but we can see the partnership. We really can see a new world order being expanded through this so-called restoration of U.S.-Russia relations. This isn't good. This isn't good at all. For me, it's not about being anti-Trump. It's about being pro-life, having values and being true to who I am and not compromising no matter what. How can we find a connect with others that are on the same frequency and turn away from all this argumentative, combative, competitive, aggressive, fearful, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? I'm Alex Ansary. This has been another podcast. It is November 16th, 2016.